negotiation that goes on behind the scenes. Well, you don't have that much. Oh, really?
Because I just felt like I didn't want to just be wondering what to do all the time. Hi, how are you? I'm Chandler. I'm one of the presenters. Thank you for being here. Which organization is that? Oh, wonderful. My kids both went to that little camp. Yeah, they're grown up now. So that's been going on a long time. It's been around since the 90s. Yeah, very good. Are you with her? No. Okay, I'm Kim Stewart.
All over now.
Nice to meet you. And you're, I'm assuming a GTEAC? And where is your Awesome, very good. We're glad you're here. Very good. Tonight our theme is summer camp opportunities.
No, that's
People that are talking about their camp. So, and so you know, the format is this meeting is being broadcasted with applications still. Okay, good. Yeah. So and it's being recorded. So even though this room, you know, won't be, you know, standing room only or anything, other people will be hearing your message. Okay. Glad you're here. Yes, yes. You have to wear a thing, like a, oh, it's a little necklace thing. It's up there, and it's connected to the camera, and it's your microphone. So yeah, we've got. I know. No, you won't even know it. But we've got, I think 4 or 5 of you tonight that are talking about it. Hello, how are you? I'm Chris. I'm the spice from. I was just explaining to her that you'll have
What would you have done with not these things, right? Like, how did you even film on it?
Yeah.
Overhead.
Thank you for being here. Where are those agendas? They're still in my head. Go ahead and give this to you. All right. I'll give you one so you can kind of see the order. Okay, thanks. Don't mind. We have a sign-in. They just put it up. It wasn't here. But it's on the computer. If you don't mind, that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate signing in. Jen, show them where which computers. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you for reaching out.
Hi, how are you? Check it out. Nice to meet you. I'm sure we've been in contact by email.
Okay, and then we're all ready.
So I was able to attach your slides to the email that I sent to all the other campuses, so they got all their slides. The only one I wasn't able to was hers, because it's a Google slide, but I'll get it to them. Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, they'll get it. They'll get it, so they'll be able to see it. But you saw in the beginning, it's all.
Jeff, it is past 5:30.
Hey, good job.
I think Lizzie has a thing and she's got
Here.
everybody on.
Okay.
Everyone's ready to go?
Thank you so much. I know there's supposed to be two more.
You're supposed to have five.
Yeah.
Who's here?
B, and E.
Go with what you got.
Right. Let me get one of those. Can I borrow that agenda
Yeah,
from
yeah.
you real quick? Yeah, I'll give that back to you. Good evening and welcome out to the third GTEAC meeting of the 2018-2019 school year. We're going to go ahead and get things started. I know the weather and traffic may be causing some delays for not only some presenters but some attendees, but we do have a lot of information to cover this evening, so we will get started. My name is Jeff Davila. I'm the president of the GT Advisory Council for Northside. Joining me this evening is Mr. Danny Lopez, the VP, and Miss Lizzie Aguilar Cruz, the secretary. And representing Northside ISD's GT and Advanced Academics Office is Miss Kim Stewart, the instructional support teacher there. We usually like to start these meetings off by reading the mission statement of the GT Advisory Council. The mission of the GT Enrichment Advisory Council is to enhance the opportunities and experiences of students in Northside ISD by identifying and recommending improvements for the district's gifted and talented program, by expanding public opinion and awareness through communications, and by providing funds for grants and specialized GT projects. And on that note, I'm going to speak a little bit about, or ask Ms. Stewart to speak a little bit about item number 2 on tonight's agenda, which is the second annual GTEAC Walkathon.
Hi, thank you all for being here, both here at NEF and at our remote locations. We appreciate your participation. We hope that you find the information this evening to be very useful as you're preparing for your students' summer plans. Before summer, though, we have something real exciting coming up, and that is our second Walkathon. Last year, we decided to try something new with our fundraising efforts, and it was very successful. And we are hoping it is as successful, if not more, this year. Just so you know, the reason we have a fundraiser at all is because we have a grant program for our GT teachers. So it is called the Ignite Fund, and our teachers are able to apply for up to $500 to do a special project with their students. This Ignite grant is only available for GT specialists. So while we have an amazing education foundation that does provide grants for teachers, as you can imagine in a district our size, it's quite competitive. However, this one, we don't have near the revenue, but we do, but it is open only to our GT specialists and our GT content teachers at the middle school. So we do definitely want to raise as much money as we can because that money goes right back into our GT classrooms. So our other officer that's unable to be here tonight is Rebecca Hughes, and she's kind of spearheading our fundraising efforts. And so she has sent us a list of things she wants to make sure. So I apologize while I actually read directly from her email. I don't want to forget anything. So it is actually 1 month out. The date is Friday, March 22nd, and it will be at 5 o'clock, 5 to 7 at Brandeis High School. Registration is going well. So far, we have 85 tickets sold. Registration is available on Eventbrite. And if you have not seen a flyer, please make sure you ask your GT specialist because those all have been sent out. We highly recommend that you do pre-register. Last year, we did not have many pre-register and we completely got slammed at the gate and we had so many people waiting for way longer than they needed to in line. So pre-registering will definitely help. She wants a special shout out, kudos to Cole Elementary. They are the first to complete a team of 20 and they've already started on their second team. So a team is from anywhere from 4 to 20 and there is a financial benefit. It's cheaper if you're part of a team as opposed to an individual. And so once you hit 20 though, you got to start a new team. So it looks like Cole is doing a great job. That's fantastic. Go Explorers. There are 16 teams created so far. We also want to try to encourage those teams and campuses also to just really try to get some school spirit. It's fun. Last year we had a little recognition for the most spirited team, so we'll try to do something like that again. She's thanking all of the GT teachers that have encouraged the students to participate in the t-shirt contest. So we had that contest recently, just on Monday actually of this week. We selected the winner. It is a secret right now who the winner is, but the winner of the t-shirt contest, obviously we will have all of the t-shirts. If you're at the Walkathon, you get a t-shirt. That's part of the money you pay. And it will have this one student's design on it, so that's exciting. We have asked for donations from our GT specialists and GT families. We did collect those last Friday from elementary and Monday from secondary or middle school. They are greatly appreciated. We're hoping to get more donations because last year that was a big attraction. We were able to get lots of gift baskets. If you still want to donate, and this is for our GT specialists too, you will want to either make sure your donation gets to Hobby Middle School, where Rebecca, the person in charge of all of this, is a parent, and she has a PTA box over there, or you can get it to Courtney or I, and we will make sure that we get it to the committee that's putting the baskets together. And that day is March 8th. So we do need all donations before March 8th because that's the day we're compiling all the baskets. She's asking to please just continue to register, come out for some great fun and prizes. She says it is for GT students and families, and we want to make sure we have as many people pre-registered as possible. So I think I've included all of her announcements, and we hope to see you guys on March 22nd at the Walkathon. Thanks, Jeff.
Real quick, Kim, when is the open period for the Ignite grants? Is that ongoing?
It's open now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The Ignite grant opened on February 4th and closes on March 7th. So our GT specialists have all been reminded of that. But yes, for you all to know that right now is when our teachers should be applying for grants.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I will second with what Ms. Stewart had mentioned earlier about the pre-registration. Having worked the Walkathon this past year, there was a substantial line for quite some time, and it actually delayed the kickoff or the starting time of the Walkathon itself because we wanted to get as many people in as we could to not miss out on any of the fun and festivities. That admission fee does include a raffle entry for those prize drawings, does include entertainment courtesy of a DJ that we'll have out there. And there will be some food options available, which is something a little newer this year at a slight additional expense. So we just ask, to make sure you have a little bit of cash on you that day if you do decide to come out and join us.
Yeah, last year, that was one of the feedback items we got. People were hungry.
Right,
So,
right.
There will be some food trucks out.
After walking around outside and dancing for 2 hours, you know, that
Oh,
you
and
know.
I'll mention that our DJs are GT students here in Northside. They actually have a side business where they've done some of their school dances around Northside. So we love that we're able to, support our own and get them to come and work our event. It's exciting.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, our fundraising events are not just about making money. We've said again and again, they're about fellowship and bringing people within the GT community of Northside ISD together, educators, parents, and students alike. So we really want to get as good of a turnout as we can. What I also want to mention, in addition to the Ignite grant program, is the second annual Ignite Scholarship program. As some of you may remember, we started the Ignite Scholarship this past school year. We awarded a $500 scholarship to a deserving GT student that was a graduating senior this past school year, who, to my understanding, is attending Pepperdine University in Malibu, California, as we speak. We want to definitely continue that scholarship program, and I want to give a quick shout out myself to the Stevenson Middle School team, who basically single-handedly have assisted in raising enough money to provide one complete Ignite scholarship on their own. So I definitely think that some credit should be given there. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, no less than one deserving high school student will be very appreciative of that hard work that the Stevenson Middle School team put toward raising that money. And on that note, we do still have some Zips car wash passes available for sale, and those proceeds are going toward the Ignite Scholarship Program. Those car wash passes are available for $10 a piece and can be redeemed for 1 month's worth of unlimited car washes at any of the Zips car wash locations. And if you want any additional details about that particular car wash program, just ask me after this meeting concludes. Are there any questions about any of the fundraising or GT events coming up? No? Okay, well then we'll get right into the meat and potatoes of tonight's meeting. Once again, backed by popular demand, we have invited select summer enrichment providers in the San Antonio area to provide information to you in attendance tonight. GT students during the summer don't stop learning, don't stop their desire to learn. And so, the question often is raised, how can we fulfill that desire to continue learning and to stay busy during the summer months? So we are happy to welcome these particular presenters this evening. Let me start off by welcoming the representative from Bits, Bytes, and Bots of San Antonio. If you don't mind coming up and introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about your program.
Oh, that is not it. Is there something I'm supposed to press for the others, or?
Nope.
No?
No.
You sold it.
Just speak into it if you want to wear it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. My name's Chris Rodriguez. I own Bits, Bytes, and Bots. We've been in business 5 years. We're going to start our 6th year this summer. And basically what we do is all year long, we teach very small after-school classes or summer camps in different topics. We're in 4 school districts. We've been invited to teach at Haven for Hope. SA Youth used a grant to take us into 10 schools in South San ISD. We've been around, I guess, is my point. And the instructors do this all year long. They don't just do it in the summer. So this is a list of some of the classes that we do, that we teach, that we specialize in, I guess, and that's what the focus of a different camp is. So one camp would be Lego Robotics, EV3, and maybe a different week you would come back, your child would come back and try a different camp called Make Your Own 3D Video Game. One thing I found, I know y'all knew this, but I didn't. I was new to this business world. Everyone that likes STEM doesn't like everything in STEM, right? Somebody likes fruit, that doesn't mean you like every fruit. Nobody knows. So we created this Soar into STEM class. It's basically a different class every day in the summer. So Monday through Friday, you'll see at least 4 different topics. Then usually we let the kids vote on the 5th day. Usually it's Minecraft, but you never know. And that way your child gets a chance to see a different topic. Maybe they like hands-on building the robots and don't want to sit in front of a computer all day. Or maybe they only thought that's what they liked, and it turned out what they really want to do is make a movie. That's really what they want to do. They want to do special effects and narrate it and do storyboards and, whatever. So that's where the SOAR into STEM comes from. It's a mixture of 4 different topics. Slide, please. We all share the same goal, right? They call it avoiding the summer brain drain. Basically, you just don't want the children to get into the habit of not doing anything for the summer. So, same goal. Slide, please. This is an example of our Minecraft class. So I'm obviously not going to go through every class we teach, but I just wanted to show an example of what we do. So we take really small classes, no more than 12 kids per instructor. Everyone has their own laptop or robot or movie making kit, whatever the class may be. And we try and really elevate their game. Minecraft is usually chop down a tree, take a wooden block, build a house. Well, there's modifications out there where you can make it really educational. Our curriculum focuses on 2 things: electricity, so the kids can power and build traps and contraptions, and you have to get it wired correctly, otherwise it doesn't work. And coding. No kidding, the kids actually type out these little codes inside of the game of Minecraft. So that they'll do variables, they'll do loops inside of loops.
We located a clicker so you can advance your own slide.
Well, then that's not as powerful as calling slide, please, and magic happens. But, all right. Anyway, and you can see that it's loops inside of loops, it's string variables. There's a lot that we do, and we do this for 3rd graders through 8th graders. And because the class is so small, it allows us to tailor the needs. And if a student really likes coding and they're good at it, we have the time to work one-on-one and teach them how to go more advanced and try their own codes. If it's not their thing, we try and focus more on the problem solving and electrical engineering side of the Minecraft. So it allows us to tailor what we do with the kids. Not going to read this slide to you. The top part, nearly 6 years in business, just a little bit of our resume. A little bit about what we do, where we go, where you'll see my staff and myself judging around town. Summer camp locations. The summer camp registration should be open, but I'm behind, so it'll be open probably this weekend. We're in 6 or 7 locations around town, plus up at Comal, which isn't important to you guys. But we're at Fortress Church, which is on Prue Road near Bandera. And we're going to be at 2 sites through Northside. We'll be at the Northside Learning Center, and they're still getting their 2nd campus. Typically, the camps run 1 week long, and they're half a day. Sometimes it's 4 days, sometimes it's 3 hours or 3.5 hours. Everything's cleared out on the website for you and explains it. But basically, one topic is half a day for a week. So all of our instructors have been checked. And again, my guys teach all year long. I don't hire anyone for the summer, except every now and again I'll hire a teacher that needs some summer work. But the rest of the folks are instructors that have already been with me for a semester, if not a year. Next up, a free tip. Okay, don't take any wooden nickels, maybe isn't a good free tip. All right. Gifted and Talented group knew that already. I guess I should have seen that coming. Okay. No, really, here's the free tip. The middle school Gifted and Talented should not take our 3D video game making class. It's going to be too easy for you. We use a software called Kodu, and what I suggest is that if you're interested at all in making your own video game and you're 6th grade or above, download it yourself and try. Give it a shot. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, it's a really, really great system to start them off on, because we'll actually have them go home and make more games even after our class ends. It's free to download. It's conditional formatting, which means the kids learn the concept of when this happens, do this. And it gets a lot more complex, and there's a lot we can do with it. But that's basically how this works. So I know the image is blurry in the background. That little black Kodu is this programming. When it bumps a coin, then the coin will explode. So they make quite a few games doing that over and over. And if you think you might like video game making in your 6th, 7th, 8th grade, give this a shot. So I'll open up the floor to questions. This is what we do. Yes?
About the Minecraft thing, about the coding,
Always the first question.
do you actually type it in, or is it like coding blocks?
No, you actually type it in. I don't believe in the drag and drop coding blocks. So with the younger kids, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we ask, especially 3rd graders, we ask the parents to get them familiar with maybe the underscore, the period versus the comma, the parentheses versus the brackets. But if you don't have a chance, we'll, we cover all that the first day. It's no big deal. So typically for Minecraft, we get kids that have played Minecraft but haven't played on the computer. And the one thing I will say to all the parents out there and teachers, encourage the kids, even if we never hear from you and you don't come to any of our classes, get the kids on the computer for Minecraft. You can play offline. Do not have to be online to play at all. You have to buy an account, costs $30, and there's just so much more that they can accomplish from an educational perspective on the computer. There's mods down there where they can do chemistry. They can download the pyramids of Egypt and take a virtual walkthrough. Or for us, we do coding. But really, if at all possible, good Christmas gift, get the kids onto Minecraft on the computer. What else can I answer for anyone today? Yes, sir?
So you take 3rd graders, is that kids going into 3rd grade or kids going out?
For anything except robotics, we'll take kids going into 3rd grade, especially for the summer and especially the morning classes. We find they're happy. You get to the afternoon classes, it's a little bit different. Lego robotics is a lot of trial and error. And so if you have the child that is enjoying problem solving and figuring something out, it's great. With the gifted and talented kids, more common than not, they're not used to struggling. They're not used to something not going right the first time, and they get grumpy. So typically for Lego robotics, we ask to wait to 4th grade. Anyone else? All right, well, the website's www.bbb of SA for Bits, Bytes, Bots of San Antonio, and hopefully we'll see some of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us and presenting this evening. Oh, thank you so much. And just for everybody's information, Lizzie will be posting applicable information about each of these summer enrichment opportunities on the GTEAC website, which is gteac.org. So if you do have any questions or want additional information at a later date, that is a resource for you. The next summer enrichment presenter this evening is representing the University of Texas at San Antonio's Center for Archaeological Research.
So I don't have any fun slides because I made them and then I didn't save them to my USB. I apologize. Technology and archaeology. We're a little behind. We study the past. But I have the website up here so you can kind of see what the homepage looks like. But to introduce myself, my name is Rachel Vara. I am the program coordinator at UTSA Center for Archaeological Research. I'm part of the Legacy program. So under the Legacy tab up there is where you're going to find our camp information. So that's our outreach component of the center. So we are associated with UTSA and we are on campus. So camps for us take place on main campus. They're going to be in our actual offices there with our working archaeological lab. It actually takes place in our library where our archaeologists go and grab their books when they need them. But we have 4 weeks of summer camp. So what we offer is this year's theme is going to be Around the World with Archaeology. So it's always some sort of archaeology themed week. The topics range from whatever the theme is that year. So this year we're going to try and take it around the world. A lot of times I get repeat students who come back and they say, I really wanted to learn about China and you didn't really talk about that. So this year we're going to try and hit as much of the world as possible because there's a lot going on with archaeology around the world. So I'm going to try and get more than just the average sites like Egypt, even though it's really, really cool. Kids hear about that a lot. So I try to take things that have been published recently, recent finds, to kind of give them an idea of what's happening today and now in archaeology. So we're also going to include stuff from Texas, some of the stuff that we've done at CAR as well. So the kids are going to be able to tour the center. They'll get to see our working archaeological lab. They're going to get to participate in a mock dig outside, learn how to throw spears using atlatls. So that is an ancient spear throwing technique. They practice every day. So we'll practice seeing how far they can throw it, because really well practiced campers can throw it up to 40 meters. So if you're really good at it, you can throw it really far. Archaeologists that get together and kind of throw it on their own, they can go like 300 yards. So atlatl, really cool tool. And we'll talk about a little bit of the physics behind that. Why does that tool make throwing spears a lot easier than your hand? So try to include as much exciting things as possible. The way camps are structured, it's going to be like a fun version of school, I guess. We like to introduce a topic with a presentation. So the kids are going to hear and be able to see. That's the one thing about archaeology is you need to be able to see that site, right? You want to see those artifacts. So the best for us, because I can't go other places and grab those artifacts for them, is to show them photos on our presentations. So we usually do 5 to 10 minute presentations introducing a topic. There's usually 4 topics a day, and then we'll do an activity or a craft to go along with that. So activities are designed to get them out of the classroom. We'll usually go outside, something that solidifies the topic from that presentation, getting them, so they're not always sitting down all the time, but then also adding that creative element, because some kids like to paint, they like to sculpt, they like to recreate artifacts using different types of arts and crafts. So we try to, appeal to everybody, and sometimes it works. Our classes are really small. They're 16 students to 2 adults, and then we usually have 2 or 3 high school volunteers so they can get their hours in with us. The camps are for 9 to 13-year-olds. Okay, so we keep it small because our facilities are really small, and if we have any more, it gets really loud, and then the archaeologists in the lab can hear us, and then they get kind of cranky. But it's really fun. I teach the classes as well as another archaeologist at CAR, so we bring our own personal experiences as archaeologists to the class. So they will have archaeologists teaching them. It's not just someone who read about it. So we can answer any of their crazy questions they might have about being in the field. How do you work as an archaeologist? What do you do when you find stuff? Things like that. Like, what are you looking for? We do offer free before and after care for our camps. Okay, we offer 4 camps throughout the year or the summer. They're Monday through Friday, and it's free before and after care, so that's included in your cost. So you can drop them off as early as 7:30 in the morning, and then pick them up as late as 5:30. But camp runs from 9 to 4. So during that time, they're going to be doing camp stuff, and then usually in before and after care, they have some crossword puzzles, activities. We have books, magazines for them to enjoy, and there's usually just a film on to keep them distracted. They can use their devices during that time, but not during camp, actually. So we try to be as device-free as possible, so they're not as distracted. Also, let me see, am I missing anything? The last day of camp, we actually always have an open house for parents to come actually see the center. You actually get a tour so you can see what your kid's been talking about all summer, and then you get a chance to throw spears. So that last Friday, the last hour, is where your camper gets to teach you how to use the tool that they've been using all week long. And we have a giant stuffed boar that you get to try and hunt. And it's usually fun to see who hits it, who doesn't. It's always a competition for them, but they get really, really good at it because we practice every day. So you start to see how they can get frustrated the first day, but then they really start to develop, like, I know how to hit it and how to throw, and it's exciting. So all the information about registration is on our website. So unfortunately, we don't have online registration, but you can find the forms online, print them out, and then mail them in to us. And registration is first come, first serve, but it is, as of right now, live. So you can go check it out. Our flyer is on there. Those of you that are here, I have the flyer here if you'd like it, or any registration forms. Those of you far away, you can find them on the website. Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
You only mentioned one theme. Is that the same theme for all 4 camps?
Yes, so the question was, is the theme the same for all 4 camps? Yes. So we recommend only registering for one camp. The theme is the 4 separate camps are just to help with people's schedules. So if you can't make one camp, you can definitely do the same. So it's the same curriculum for all 4 camps. Any other questions? No? Okay, then that's my time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that information. On another note, I was going to actually say, like, with archaeology, if anybody has any questions, I believe Miss Stewart's daughter comes from an archaeology background. Do I remember correctly?
Anthropology.
Oh, anthropology. Okay.
Which is very close.
So, right.
Well, and I did tell her, both of my children went through that camp. You raised the age. They were younger than 9 when they did it. And they didn't, I mean, my kids are 6 years apart. They didn't do it together, obviously. But they both had a fantastic time. So it was a great program. I'm glad to see it's still around.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much for that presentation. Next, we would like to welcome a representative from Youth Code Jam. Absolutely.
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay, y'all, you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm the ops manager, so public speaking's not my gig. But my name is Lori Price. I am the operations manager at Youth Code Jam. We are a nonprofit based here in San Antonio, and we teach kids how to code. But we do that in such a way where they're actually playing, and we want to transition them into seeing how this applies to real life and real world jobs. So who am I? For those of you that are Clifton Strengths folks, those are my top 10 up there. Those of you that are Myers-Briggs, that's my personality type, just so you know who I am. But this is my 2 GT kiddos. They have gone through the GT program at Northside. My son Ian is a junior at O'Connor High School, and my daughter Ellie is in 7th grade at Jefferson Middle School, and we have been very blessed to have some really incredible GT teachers throughout the years that have helped them learn and grow. But I think as those of us with GT kids know, it does come with its own package of interesting accessories. So, having said that, what we're looking at, and my speech teacher always taught me that I should start out with a quote that encompasses what I'm trying to say. So what we're really trying to do here with coding is to teach kids how to think. It's about problem solving, and computational thinking is very applicable to everyday life, right? I hear from adults a lot that, I don't do computers. Okay, and I'm like, well, okay, but you can think like one because you know not to put your shoes on before you put on your pants. You have an order in your head. You have a this then, like steps in your head. So a little bit of backstory. This is our fearless leader. This is Debbie Pfitzenmaier. She's my executive director. She does have 2 kids. And the reason that she kind of started this out is because her son, who is profoundly gifted, God willing, he will be graduating from MIT this year after 3 years, needed an outlet, was very, very interested and needed something to do. She is incredibly gifted at marketing. She ran multiple blogs here, so getting messaging and everything, but she's mostly a really passionate advocate for what we do. This is our mission. That's one of my staff members, Colin, over there. Our mission is to provide unique, innovative, impactful, and family-focused out-of-school time hands-on computing programs for a wide range of neurotypical and neurodiverse students. We also do teacher professional development that's designed to bring computer science to every school and every classroom. So we service K through 12, and we do not put boundaries on neurodiversity. That's one of our big, big, big things, especially and including twice gifted kiddos. All right, so our goal is pretty much to get those kids excited about computer science. We want to build their confidence in their skills, and we want to inspire them to envision themselves in those tech jobs of the future. Oops, sorry. This is the how and the why. We believe in, like I said, opportunities for all abilities. We believe in hands-on learning, and we believe in engagement, especially with parents. We want parent involvement as much as possible. We also, the why of it all, the jobs. We're looking at the future. So we're looking at where the economic growth is for kids that are going to be entering the workforce. We look at where tech reaches, which is pretty much everywhere, whether you run a grocery store or you run a school, everyone uses tech. And then we want to transition people from users to actual creators. So most people use tech, but we want to actually guide people into creating with tech. This is the biggest why of it all. This is actually some of our John Jay kiddos that came to work with us at Core 4 STEM with a special needs group, a tour group that came to our booth. This picture probably says it all. All right, a little bit of data for those of you that like the information. There are a whole lot of jobs next year, statistically, that are not going to get filled. Approximately 1.4 million of those. And we can only fill about 30%. We've got 6 states that currently have access to K through 12 access to CS courses. Only 15 of those of the states in the U.S. do have policies to give high school students access to CS. And we've also got a little data point there from Google. So Google did an internal employee survey asking their employees basically, okay, so how many of you actually had exposure to CS prior to college? And the majority of those that did went on to pursue CS, and the ones that didn't. The next data point really has to do with a moment for the girls, because I think this is really important, especially for those GT kids that are in the AP programs and considering those pre-AP programs and AP programs. So when it comes to the total amount of AP test takers, the girls are the majority, but they are not the majority of the AP CS test takers by a long shot. And then we've got that they are also the majority of the undergraduate degrees, but they are not by a long shot the majority of the computer and information sciences degrees. So one of the things that we're really passionate about is trying to raise those second set of numbers. This is some of the information from 2018 as far as what we've done. We do a lot of school-based jams, so we actually engage with the teachers. So that is one of the wings of what we do. We engage in teachers to help them seed family code jams in their schools. So those of you that might be interested in that, give me a shout. We do teacher professional development, and we provide TEACS-aligned lessons to integrate computer science into your classroom. They are cross-curricular. And that's kind of a little data point on approximately the number of students and parents we reached last year. All right, so how to find us. That's another one of my staff members. That's Abby. This is actually in the background. This is our San Antonio jam from, I think, this last year. We served about 800 folks. We do 4 major jams: San Antonio, Austin, the Rio Grande Valley, and then we have a low sensory jam for those kids, those children that need to have a smaller, quieter environment. And we're actually hosting that in a location with carpeting, so there's not the foot noise, you know, all of that kind of stuff, just to dial it back a little bit for those kids that need that, but are still interested in the jam and the engagement. Okay, so this is some of our programming. We do operate year-round, and these are also available in the summer. We do teacher professional development, and those are some of the examples of that. The Hour of Code, we did that, a big one, once a year, but we do smaller events on site. We do consultations, and we do have a speaker series where we bring in speakers, and we have a group of teachers come in and engage with students to discuss topics relating to the tech sector. And we do the Planet Jam, where we actually assist in helping people do jams in their schools. We are in the libraries. That's just a couple of the ones that we are in on a regular basis every week. So those kiddos that during the summer, maybe they're not signed up for a camp, try to find us in one of the libraries. We're definitely there. The camps, we've got several locations that host us with camps, and we have several partners over there. We actually have more camps than that. We're running camps approximately mid-June through mid-August, either full or half-day camps, depending on the location and who we're serving. In the community, this is some of the community locations that we are in on a regular basis. And then some of the schools that we are in on here again, a weekly basis are up there. Some of them probably look familiar. So anybody have any questions? We kind of have a whole lot going on for summer. It's not just all about the camps. So we do have, like I said, those kind of pop in, pop out things. And also summer things for teachers. It's not just about the kids. No? Okay.
Thank you so much. I was going to mention real quick, I actually met Debbie, who's the executive director of Youth Code Jam, at a technology-related event this past year. And Debbie was getting swarmed by people asking for free T-shirts. I'm sure would catch a lot of people by surprise. Like, what? Who wants free? Yeah, a lot of people want free T-shirts, evidently. But the first question I asked her was, how does your camp cater to GT students, and what do you know about GT students? And then she told me about her son, and I was convinced. So, please keep in mind that we filter, I guess I'll use the word filter, or I'm trying to, the other word is escaping me right now. But we do a lot of research before we invite just anybody to come and present their summer enrichment opportunities to you. We go a lot on either personal experience or recommendations from others within the GT community, with their experiences with that particular organization or camp. So we do sincerely appreciate the three presenters that we've had this evening. We also want to welcome Ms. Stewart back up to speak about an offering from Northside ISD's GT department.
Thank you. Okay, and I mentioned our walkathon. What is that? Okay. I mentioned our walkathon earlier, so we will have some tables, some vendors set up, advertising their wares, if you will. But I'm really trying to encourage people who are looking to get kids to register for summer programs, because I think that's a great time to get to talk to parents and to really recruit. So any of you that are here tonight, if you would like more information about that, see one of us about the walkathon. We will have a table there that night for Camp Invention. So Camp Invention is a national organization. We do have a little short video that we're going to watch. And we hosted it for the first time last year. We actually filled it. We reached capacity last year, so we're hoping it will be as successful again. Really cool stuff. The kids basically go to 4 or 5 classes a day, about 50 minutes to an hour each, and they're working all week to build something. So like last year, one of the things they made was a robotic dog in one of their sessions, and then in another session they were making a house for their robotic dog. And so just some really cool stuff. Lizzie, is that video ready to go? So this year the theme is supercharged, and we're going to just watch this little 1 minute to kind of give you an overview.
Superheroes, deep sea adventures, smart farming, dancing bots, and more. Experience it all in Camp Invention's new program, Supercharge. Climb aboard and navigate the churning waters of innovation in deep sea mystery. Dig up fossil evidence, fix a broken ship, design survival tools, and create underwater equipment in a fun-filled adventure among the sea life. Become an entrepreneur in farm tech as you turn a polluted wasteland environment into a lush green machine. Build programming skills, design devices to save animals, and design your own high-tech farm from the ground up. Put on your goggles and and grab your screwdrivers. It's time to design, experiment, observe, and modify your very own remote control robot. Explore frequency, circuit boards, motors, and gears as your DIY Orbot takes on obstacles from sports to dance. Collaborate with innovative superheroes to solve hands-on challenges and battle supervillains. Become an engineer, a fabricator, designer, and overall inventor in innovation force as you take your ideas from prototype to patented device. Discover innovation with world-changing inventors. Only at For big ideas, become the next big thing. Learn more at invent.org/camp.
As parents, don't you wish you could go to Camp Invention too? Or any of these cool camps? I was just texting with somebody at another satellite campus, and we're like, we got so ripped off as kids. We didn't have any of this cool stuff. So I want to introduce Anita Contreras. Anita, if you'll just kind of wave. Anita is here tonight. She is from Stevenson Middle School. She is our GT specialist there, and she is the director for Camp Invention this year. So she'll be running that show, and the location will be Beard Elementary, June 17th through the 21st. So I know nothing has gone out yet. We just have confirmed the dates, the locations and such, but the flyers are being printed now and should be probably, I would imagine, to your child's campus in the next week or two. So you'll definitely be getting some information about that. All right, and I think that is all I have about summer camp. So I'll turn it back over to Jeff. But again, personally, I want to thank everybody for being here. Good, Jeff.
Thank you so much. Another quick comment. Some of you may notice that some of these particular summer enrichment opportunities may have some redundancy or may be similar to one another, but that's not done without a purpose behind that, because we realize with a school district the size of Northside ISD, budgets are often different and availability is often different. And a lot of these summer enrichment opportunities have different price points and are available at certain periods of time. And so we're not trying to pit any organizations against each other or say that one is better than another necessarily, but we're trying to allow you as the consumer to make informed decisions and bringing some of those options to you. The representative from the San Antonio Botanical Gardens sent their apologies that they were unable to attend this evening, but our secretary, Lizzie, will be posting their information on the GTAC website that I had given out earlier. And I'm not sure what happened to the ACE Academy representative, but I will speak a little bit about that summer enrichment opportunity myself, because my eldest son actually attended that particular camp this past summer. He is an aspiring aviator. He's actually working toward his private pilot's license as we speak at the age of 15, which, speaking of budgets, if any of you know anything about aviation, pursuing a pilot's license is not cheap. But I'll tell you that he had an absolute blast attending the ACE camp this past year. And even if your student isn't interested in aviation particularly, as long as they have an interest in some sort of STEM field, the ACE camp is also quite applicable. He would come home every evening from that 5, almost 6 day long camp and just tell me all these stories about different things that they did. And the camp actually has a capstone activity of actually getting in the cockpit of an airplane and flying themselves, with an instructor, of course. But they get to take about a 30-minute to an hour flight of part of the city of San Antonio out of Stinson Airfield as kind of a capstone to that week's events. So for a $50 price point for a week, that's not a bad deal. A lot of flight schools offer what they call discovery flights, which do something similar, like let you fly for about 30 minutes to an hour to check if you like it. But most of those discovery flights run about $100, give or take. So if you're just looking at the flying part for 30 minutes to an hour, $50 isn't too bad. But it's actually for a week-long camp that provides food as well. And they'll actually feed your student lunch every day during that camp as well. Son, did you have anything you wanted to mention that I forgot about that particular camp? Well, and I'm an aviation buff myself, and I had no idea that there was that many different aviation-related activities to do within the city of San Antonio until he would come home and tell me about all the things they did. Looking at things from fighter aircraft and military aviation to airline aircraft to crop dusters to rotorcraft operations like law enforcement and air ambulance-related activities. They also attended the San Antonio College Mars expedition activity, which I've heard is quite pricey unto itself. So they really enjoyed that a lot. So, if we can answer any questions regarding that ACE Academy, I'd be happy to do so, or my son would be happy to do so. I do know you can find out more about that particular academy through the website obap.org. It's O as in Oscar, B as in Bravo, A as in Alpha, and P as in Papa.org. Oh, okay. Mr. Danny Lopez.
So I always enjoy this meeting that we have during the year. We get to see about different ideas for the summer programs. When I meet kids, either mentoring or just in life, I always like to ask them two questions. The first one is, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? It doesn't matter what they say. You just look at them and go, that's awesome. So what are you doing this summer to get you there? And that is a real key thing. Like Kim was saying, when we were growing up, times were a little different. I mean, I did a lot of scout camps growing up, but by the time I got to high school and we started looking at colleges, I'm the third child in my family. As my brother was applying, it became real clear. All the college recruiters were like, yeah, so what are you doing this summer? What's going on? What's that? And like my older sister wasn't real sure what she wanted to be when she grew up. So my mom got her a job as a pharmacy tech. And yeah, guess what she does today? She's a pharmacist, doctor of pharmacy from University of Texas at Austin. She's started several drug information centers, one at the school at UIW here. And my younger brother wasn't sure what he wanted to do, but he had an interest in audio. She put him in an audio recording class here at Studio M in San Antonio, learned about audio recording. He has a PhD in radio, television, and film. Teaching at A&M today. I did a little different. I did a summer internship with a NASA program at the California State University in San Francisco, and today I'm a computer engineer for the Air Force. These are all based on having done summer experiences. And what I like to tell kids and parents is it is cheaper to find out now if you like something than in college. So it's important. Interning in college is going to be very important, but if you have any interest at just about any age, you've got to kind of stimulate that, and these summer programs are opportunities to do that. And sometimes it's taking a kid who doesn't really know what they want to do and throwing them at something to see if it sticks. Oh, that didn't stick. Let's pitch and dance. Things like that. So these are all great opportunities to take a child and put them in an environment where they can find out something new about themselves, or they can stimulate and learn something about something they've shown an interest in. So we highly recommend that. Before I turn over to Kim, I was going to transition with something. We do have a lot of new faces in the group, and so I wanted to tie in what Kim's going to bring up to what our organization is about. Going back to the mission statement that Jeff always mentions at the beginning of it, this is our first meeting for 2019, so I kind of wanted to reemphasize something. So, the state of Texas has educational standards for the entire state, and one of those standards is the requirement to provide education for GT-identified students. And they also have a list of recommended practices, and one of the recommended practices beyond having curriculum for GT students is to have a forum where parents can meet and interact with the district to provide feedback. And the recommendation is do this at least once a year. But their best, highest quality standard, their best practice, if you will, is to have a board of parents and GT teachers that meet on a regular basis to provide feedback to the district. And Northside, of course, always striving to be at the best standard in the state, has that, and that's what this forum is. And we really enjoy it. Jeff and I are not just parents of GT students, but we're also graduates of Northside's GT program. But we like this forum because sometimes at the rate GT students are identified at 5% or 10%, in a class of 15 to 20, that can seem like one or two kids, and you can kind of see like, hey, my kid seems a little out of place. But when you scale it to a district of over 100,000, you're talking 5,000 to 10,000 students, and this is where you get the sense of community of like, oh yeah, everybody in this room is dealing with kids that have the same challenges and expertise and thinking sometimes as my kid. And so that's why we like to be a place where people come together to work towards helping our students and our children become the possibilities that we know that are available to them. So with that in mind, we've done a couple of changes that me and Jeff had made as we've been officers. We used to meet monthly, and we found that to be kind of intense. And we used to meet at one location, and we found that was really difficult for such a large school district. Geographically, we're just really spread out. So one of the changes we made is we went to this 4-meeting format. So we have 4 meetings throughout the year. And they usually have different topics. This one was, of course, summer programs. Our previous meeting, we had Dr. Woods come and talk about the policies and future of GT within the district. And we also do some other things. One of the other changes we made is we used to have board elections annually, and we changed that to biannually. Well, this is the end of the second year, and so we're going to get ready to have elections again. And so I was going to turn it over to Kim to explain that, but I wanted to give you guys some background of why it's important that this board is made up of not just parents of GT students, but also members of our GT staff within the district itself. And so I kind of want you guys to think about that as Kim talks. So here you go.
You are always so eloquent. We appreciate your advocacy for this organization and for you're the GT students in our district. And that was really the gist of what I wanted to say is we are at the end of our second year. This is the first time we'll have an election since we revamped and went from annually to biannually. And so we only have one more meeting this year. It is April the 11th. And on April the 11th, part of that agenda will include our election process. So Danny and Jeff, I haven't talked to them to know if they're willing to even run again. They have definitely done an amazing job. We've done we've had a lot of changes in this organization, and I think all of them for the better, the way that we're trying to reach people in all different ways. But, there's lots of room to grow and lots of room to improve. And so I invite you all who are here tonight and watching also at the campuses or possibly even a recording afterward, but to consider becoming more involved in our GT organization. Our mission is to advocate for the students identified as gifted in our district, and we're doing a lot to try to meet those needs, not just when they go to GT class, but every day in their schooling. So again, consider that. April 11th is also an exciting meeting because we do award our teachers who are grant winners. So the teachers come and they receive their grants. And it looks like we'll be doing another scholarship this year for a deserving high school student. We have not talked about the agenda, so I hate to say it too much, but we might have a student panel. That maybe is what that's usually what we usually have, a student panel, and that's the only thing left I think that we haven't done this year. So we'll be getting together to talk about exactly what we're going to do. But it is a great meeting. It's a great way to end the year with excited teachers about their projects. They usually share a little bit about what it is they're going to do with their money that they won. So anyway, I'll turn it over to Jeff to close the meeting. But again, thank you, and consider becoming more involved. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. And just to add on to that note, Superintendent Woods and I had a conversation not long ago, right around the time of his appearance this past November. But one thing that we agreed upon is I think most of us involved in this GT program in whatever capacity do so believing it's a labor of love, but it is still labor of some type. I know Danny Lopez and I have been involved for about 5 years in this organization. Lizzie, you're on what year? At least 7 or 8 years. There are currently 4 officer positions, that will be open for election at that next meeting. It'll be as a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. And as I mentioned, we are more than happy, I think, to continue to serve, but we also realize what this type of commitment does take, because it is a commitment. And I will just say to anybody that is considering raising their hand and volunteering for being involved as a GT officer or throwing their name in the hat for an election, please do so taking it seriously. This program means a lot to a lot of people. Danny and I are former GT students, as he mentioned. Both of us have GT students as children. There are GT educators throughout these meetings. And so this particular program means a lot to a lot of people. So just consider that before you raise your hand and volunteer to be involved, because it does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of commitment. What you're noticing in these 4 meetings a year is barely scratching the surface of what goes on behind the scenes to not only make these meetings happen, but to negotiate better prices for things regarding fundraising events and regarding grants and, typing up scholarship forms, scoring scholarship forms. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes that we rarely talk about in these meetings. But if you would like any more information, just ask one of us, and we'll be happy to scare you away from raising your hand. One thing I wanted to mention real quick that I forgot to earlier regarding the Ignite scholarship. That scholarship is going to start, or the application period, I should say, for that scholarship is going to start tomorrow and will run for approximately 1 month. And that's to allow us enough time to score that scholarship application and hopefully have a recipient selected by the April 11th GTEAC meeting. Are there any high school parents or educators in attendance this evening? No? Okay, well, if you do know any high school students with the Northside ISD's GT program, please let them know to check on the same gteac.org website, and that's where they'll be able to find a link to that Ignite scholarship application. Are there any more questions before we adjourn this evening?
Thank you again to all.
Thank you so much for attending.
Really appreciate